Right, so we are back and we quickly want to work on the menus right here. So you can see when I click on this right here, you can see that we have a bunch of menus that we can just do what we want with right here, right? So you can see that we have the invite people. Now the styling for this, let us quickly fix that. Let us go into the components. We have the modals. Okay, I think this one won't be the modals. Should be the server header right here, and I'll just bring this to the side like this. Alright, and I'll just so let me just scroll down and bring this. I'll just scroll down like that, and we have invite people here. So here I'll just make it text indigo 400, just like that right here. Alright, so if we go back, okay, so it's like it has not updated, so I'll just refresh that, and once it's good we should be able to see the changes right there, right? So you can see that it's not looking nice and clean. If you like, you can just do the same thing right here too as well, right? So yeah, so that's the icon also changes its color just like that, right, nice and clean. Alright, so now that we have been able to fix all that, the next thing we want to quickly do is we want to work on the we want to quickly work on the fact that when we click on this invite people, we want to be able to bring up the model, right? So in order for us to be able to do that, let's go into the hooks and let's go into the use model store right here, and then what I'll do is I'll just come right beside the create server. I'll do my all, and then I will pass in with invite just like that. Alright, so right after I'm done passing that in, I'll just come inside here and then I'll pass in with a data interface. So inside the data interface, I'll just say model just like that. So model data just like that. Right, and this model data, we are about to create that model data right above here, right? So I'll say interface, and then the interface would be what, model data just like that, and inside here we'll say what, server, right? And this server is going to be the type of what, server from our prisma slash client right here, right, nice and clean. So now that we have that all set up, you can see that it has put that you can see that the error that we had here has been is now gone, right? Alright, so now that we are done with that, we want to come inside this type right here, and we'll just say what, data. We just say data, and this data is going to be what, model data just like this. Alright, nice and clean. Then right after that, we can just come here right below here, and I'll just say data, and then I'll just pass it in as an empty object just like that. We'll bring our comma to set that up, and we can just come here inside our on open, and then we can just add it as like an extra parameter. So that's going to be what, data, and it's going to be an empty object just like this right here. Alright, so now that we have this working out, we want to come here and then set it right here, so data just like that. Alright, so yeah, so that's it. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that once we click on this invite people right here, we should be able to see the invite model right there, right? So what we want to quickly do is inside the server header right here, we want to add an on click. Alright, so inside the server header, right, let's add our on click. So what we quickly want to do is, let me scroll up here, right, and right here, right, we can just come, oh yeah, I'm coming. So right here, and I can just say what, const on open, const on open is going to be equal to use modal, just like that. Alright, so we just imported that, and I'll just close it like this, initialize that like that, and I'll just scroll down here, and I'll just add it to this on click. So the drop down item here is going to have an on click, right? And this on click is going to have to open up this function and say on open, and then we open this up, and then we say invite. Then the next thing we want to pass after is the server data that we have. So server, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. So right after we've been able to do that, okay, yeah, I have an idea. You see this? Let's quickly just set it up right here in addition, so it becomes even. Right, so uh, now that we've been able to do that, okay, so you can see that we are seeing a use client right here. That's because we have the on click inside this component. So let's quickly scroll back up, and right at the top right here, I'll just give it a use client, just like this. All right, and yeah, that should basically do it. Once we refresh, the error should go right away. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our model provider recognizes this. So but before we can do that, all right, okay, so let's just go to the model provider. That is going to be components providers, model provider right here, and then we just add one more component here. That is going to be the invite model, just like this. But you can see we've not been able to create the invite model yet. So what I'll do is I'll just go into the models right here, and I'll just copy and paste. So I'll do Ctrl C, Ctrl V to just duplicate that. Oh yeah, mistake. So yeah, so I wanted to just do Ctrl C, Ctrl V, just like that, and you can see that we have a quick copy of that model right here, right? So what we want to do is we want to say invite model dot tsx, just like that, and then inside the invite model I want to just come here, right? So let me quickly scroll down so you see what is actually going on here. So I'll scroll down, so you see this create server model right here. I just want to quickly select it, and then I'll hold Ctrl F2, just like that. So Ctrl F2, make sure that you have this selected, right? Case sensitive, make sure you have it selected, right? Ctrl F2, and then we just say what initial, oh sorry, invite model. So model, just like that, nice and clean. Alright, so now that we have that, we can just come here and then import it, just like this, nice and clean. Alright, so we have been able to import the model that we just created. Right now we want to make a couple of changes. Alright, so what are the changes that we want to make right here? Right, so the first change we want to make is we want to get rid of all these bad boys. So we get rid of this one, right? We just want to get rid of all that stuff. And what else do we want to get rid of? We want to get rid of this on submit right here, right? And yeah, that should pretty much do it. And this onclude, since we already have an onclude inside our use model right here, there is no need to use it again. And what else? Yeah, so pretty much that is it. What we will do is inside this on open change, we just set it to be the on close, just like that. And yeah, that's it. And we already have the S model open, just like that. And then let us quickly come down here. Alright, so let us quickly come down. Yeah, and let's remove this. Yeah, let's remove that too, and we don't need that. So let's quickly come down. into the form right here. So we want to make sure that we are selecting everything from the start of the form to the end of the form, just like that. So okay, I'm coming, 1 second. So yeah, I wanted to get the end of the form. Okay, yeah, so let's remove this. All right. So now that we've been able to clear all that, let me see what the errors are. It says is modal open. Yeah, so for the is modal open, let me see. We need to make sure that the is modal open has been set right. Okay, so how we are going to check for the is modal open is we are going to come here and then see that what is modal open, just like that, and we would make sure that inside we set the condition well. So we check for what, so we say if is open is what, so if it's open and the type, so if it's open is true and also the type has been set to invite, right, to invite, then we want to set is modal open to do what, to be true. So based off of that, we can quickly open up our modal, right? So okay, let me just try refreshing, and you should be able to see that we can open our modal. Okay, it's still not done refreshing. All right, but we can move on basically. All right, so what I want us to do is let us clear all these bad boys from here. So I just cleared that. All right, I can clear that too as well. We will need the axial, so I will not clear that, and we can just clear this one too as well. All right, and we can now test, and then you should see that it just showed up right here, nice and clean, right? So the first thing we want to quickly do right now is we want to come to this right here, and then we want to add our own text, right? So we can just say invite friends, just like that. All right, and then we can just come inside and say so yeah, that's it, right? And here we can change it, we can change the title, right? You can just change the title to something more. So your friends invite your friends to keep your Discord much more fun and interesting, right there. All right, so yeah, so pretty much that should do it for the edit of the text right here. All right, then uh we want to come down into the div right here. So you see here inside this dialog header and content, right, in between the dialog header and the content, we want to give a div, right? And then this div is going to have um a class name of padding 6. So we'll give it a class name just like that of padding 6, just like that. So we have padding 6 just like that. And the next thing we want to do is we want to come down here and then apply our label, right? So we'll see label just like that, and I want us to be able to just import it, but it looks like the PC is slow. One more time, 1 second. Okay, let's scroll down. Okay, scroll down and let's add a label just like that. All right, I think the label is even like a double, yeah, So now that we have that, what we want to do is you can just say what server invite link, just like that, invite link, just like that. All right, and then inside we want to pass in a couple of class names. All right, so inside we say what the class, so give it a class name of what uppercase, right? Then give it a text extra small, text xs, right? So that's extra small, and we want to make sure that we want to quickly make sure that we set it to a font bold right here. All right, and then we set it to be what text zinc, so text zinc 500, just like that. All right, and down here what we want to quickly continue with is we want to set it so on dark screens, right? On dark screens we want to make sure that the text is secondary over what, so secondary over 70, just like that, and then that should basically do the job for us. Okay, we'll just check it later. So now that we've been able to set up the label right here, we want to come under the label and then we want to create another div right here, right? And this div is going to have some things, right? But before that, let's just give it its necessary class names. So I'll say class name right here, and inside the div class name I'll just give it a flex item center, just like that, flex item center mt2, just like that, gap x 2, just like that. All right, so now that we have that, the first thing we want to apply is we want to give it an input, just like that, right? So inputs just like that. All right, and inside this input that we have, right, what we want to do is we want to give it a class name right here, right? And then we give it what, bg zinc 300 over 50, just like that. And we want to say what dark, so on dark screens we want to set it to what bg zinc 300 again. So we can just copy this and put it here. All right, and now that we have that, we can just come and then give it a border 0, just like that. We can come to the bottom here, we say that, oh, whenever we focus, in fact, do you know that this input is kind of okay, but let's just do it. So I'll just say focus visible, so focus visible, and then we set that to be what, a ring of what, of 0, and we set it to text black, just like that, right? And we can come here and set another focus visible, and then we also set that one to ring offset, so ring offsets 0, just like that. All right, so now that we've been able to set this up the way we want it to, we can just come here and then add like a couple more props. So we can just give it a default value, so default value of what, invite URL, right? But you might ask yourself, oh, what is this invite URL that we want to pass in, right? So okay, so what is this invite URL that we are trying to pass in? So the invite URL is basically supposed to be the URL to the group, right? All right, so in order for us to be able to get that, we are going to need like a couple of things. So let me quickly go up here. All right, let me quickly go up here, and what we want to do right now is okay, let me just comment it out so we stop getting the errors. All right, so what we want to do right now is we want to go into the hooks right here, right? And we want to create one hook called use origin .cs right here. Oh yeah, I wanted to do use origin, just like that, .cs, right? All right, so inside this use origin that we have right here, what we want to do is we want to quickly see what export use origin right here. So export const use origin. Let's make sure, open it up like this, close it with the arrow, and then open that the curly braces up. Right now, inside we want to set what we want to create this use state of what mounted, and set mounted, just like that. Mounted and set mounted, we set that to a use state of false, just like that. And the next thing we want to do is we want to come and then set a use effect, just like this as well. Oh, use effects. I wanted it to show up, but it's not showing up, so you have to just manually import it to at the top here. So yeah, use effects right here, right? And I'll just open that up, treat it like a function, open up the curly braces, pass in the dependency array, just like that. Now inside this use effect, what we quickly want to do is we want to set mounted to be what, to be true whenever the page renders. Right, alright, so mounted has been set to true. Alright, and the next thing we want to quickly do is we want to now come and actually get the actual origin, right? So I'll say const origin is equal to type of, so type of what, window. We have the type window right here, and I would say undefined, right? So undefined, just like that. And right after, we want to check, so we say, oh, if the type window is undefined, and at the same time the window dot location, right, dot origin, right, is available, what we want to do is we want to store the window dot location dot origin inside the origin variable. But if it's not available, we want to just leave it as an empty string right here. Then we want to now come here and check for the mounted right here. So I'll say, oh, I wish the if snippet came. Okay, so it's here. So I'll say that if the mounted has been set to false, right, then return null, right? But if it hasn't and everything is stable and straight, you can just return the origin just like that. Alright, nice and clean. So now that we have this, you can simply just go back into the invite modal right here at the top, right, and here. So inside here, all we need to come here and then do is we just need to come and import it, right? Okay, so down here we can just say const origin, and that is going to be coming from use origin that we created, just like that. Then we initialize it nice and clean like that. Alright, so now that we have this use origin that we imported here, we want to now set up the invite URL. And for the invite URL, what we simply do is just come below here and then we say what, invite URL, just like that, and then we set it to be what, equal to, what, we open our backtext and we say what, so origin, just like this, right, and we set it to be invite. Okay, so invite slash what, slash what, server dot invite code, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. Right, so we have this right here, right? We can just copy that. Okay, but it looks like apparently we don't have the server, right? But how we are going to get the server is we are going to have to take the data from here, and right after taking the data, we just make sure that we know that here this is the server, so we just destructure and take the server out of it. So yeah, so inside, and we take it from the data. All right, nice and clean. Because if you remember how we set up the server right here, right, that's what is allowing us to be able to get the server out of the data. All right, so, and that data we've already passed it inside through the server header, right, over here, right. So okay, so yeah, so now that we have this server object right here, right, we just pass it in and everything is good. We just have to scroll down. You just have to scroll down and then allow this to enter right there like that, right. All right, so let's also make sure that we pass in the value to do what, invite URL as well. The reason why I'm letting us do both of them like this is because at the beginning the page wants to check if like that's the default value, but if we just pass in the value straight ahead, it's going to be causing some warnings inside the console. So yeah, that's pretty much why we are doing both of them like that. So I can just refresh and you see the little results that we have, right. Okay, I think it's here. Oh, let me try again. Okay, it looks like we have an error. Let me see what the error is. It says what, server.invite code. Server.invite code. Okay, pretty much. Alright, so now that it's here, I'll just click on that and then you can see that we have this right here. Now this the issues that you are seeing here is basically having to do with this whole default value and value thing, right. But don't worry, it's a minor issue, and yeah, everything should be fine. Alright, so yeah, so pretty much uh or if you like what we can do is, let me try something here. So we only want to pass it inside if it's available, right. So only when the invite URL is available, that's when we want to pass it in. Alright, so let's see. Oh, it looks like we still have the same issue, but yeah, it didn't work, so let's just leave it like that. Right, we'll fix it later if we encounter any errors. All right, so we have that, and there's one more thing that we need to be able to do. That is, we want to be able to set up the buttons right here. So I'll tell you what, button, just like this, right. And this button, I want to get it from the UI slash button right here. Then inside we can now pass in like a check based on the icon, right. So we want to check, so if it's copied, and this is copied, is going to have to be checked by a use state variable that we have to create, right. And we in fact we want to even create two of them. So let me just remove this copied right here. Let me scroll upwards and let's try to create these use state variables. Alright, so above here, right here, I'll just come here and then I'll say const what, copied, set copied, just like this. Oh, just like this. Alright, I want to be able to import the use state. Nice. And we set that to be what, false, just like that. And we can come and paste that, give it some space, and then we'll see what is loading. Then we would copy that and paste it here and see set is loading, just like that. all right so now that we have this right here, now that we have that right here, right, the next thing we want to quickly do is um, the next thing we want to quickly do is we want to come down here and we want to now pass in the various conditions for our stuff, right? So for the is loading, let's just make sure that whenever it's loading, we want to disable this, right? Okay, so it's loading, just like that, and then I'll just copy this and I'll place it here too as well. Nice. And inside here we can pass in the necessary check. So we see what when is copied is set to true, right? Well, when it's copied is set to true, we want to pass in this, and when it's not, we want to pass in that, right? And what do we want to pass in? What do we want to pass in? What we want to pass in is our check. So I'll see what the check icon, and that is going to be coming from Lucid React right here. All right, and yeah, so inside we give it a class name, just like that, and you see what W4 H4, like that. All right, and I can just copy this and paste it here and see what copy, just like this. Alright, and then I'll hit enter, and that should enter from Lucid React, just like that right there. Alright, so now that we have that, let's also come to the button here and apply the size to be the size of what, an icon, just like that. Alright, and we should be good. Alright, so under this div right here, let's add one more button, right? Let's add one more button. So I'll say button, then inside this button I want to say something like generate a new link, just like that, right? Let's make it small letters, just like that, and I'll say what I want to apply the icon refresh. So refresh CW, just like that, and that is also going to come from Lucid React, just like that. So yeah, so Lucid React, just like that, and inside I'll just pass in the class name, so ML2, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. So now that we have that, we want to come here and then pass an on click, right? So on click right here, and inside we want to give it on new. So this on new is a function that we are about to create. All right, so I can just comment that out, and I'll say what disabled. I want to set the disabled to be what is loading, just like that, and we want to make sure that the size is SM. All right, so size is what SM, right? Nice and clean, just like that, and then we want to give it the variant of what link. All right, so variant, I want to give it a variant of link, just like that. And what else? The next thing we want to do is I want to give it a class name, so like a bunch of class names, just to style it the right way. So we give it text sm, just like that, or even text xs, right? That's way better. And then we give it what, text zinc 500, just like that. And we give it mt4, and then Keza pointer, just like that. Alright, so let us quickly refresh this, and you should see the results that we have right here. Alright, so alright, so it should load up right now. Alright, so you can see when I click on this and I click on this invite people right here, you can see that we have the invite link right here. We've not set up a functionality that allows us to change this when we click on it, and you can see that once we hover over this, you can see that it changes right here. You can see that we are showing this underline right here, right? So nice and clean. So now that we have been able to set this up, right, what we want to do now is we want to now create the functionality that is going to allow us change a few of these things, right? So let's first of all start with the on copy, right? So the on copy right here, right, we want to apply it to this button. So on click, right, so this on click, we want to set it to a function of on copy. Alright, so this on copy function, let us scroll up and then create it ourselves right here. So I'll just come down here and I'll say const on copy, and that is going to be, I'll just open it up, our function, nice and clean, and then I'll say navigator, right? So navigator dot clipboard. Now this is what is going to allow us copy it onto our clipboard, our system clipboard, right? So we say what, navigator.clipboard, then write text. You can see it right here, right? Then that text is going to be the invite URL that we just created above right here, right? So invite URL, just like that. Alright, so now that we have been able to pass that inside, the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that based off of a certain timeout, right? So okay, so let's set is copied to true, or let's set copied to be true, right? Then after some time we just set it back to false, so we can simulate that copied and that copied animation type thing, right? That simulation type thing, right? So we set it to true, just like that, and we just come under here and then we set timeouts. So set timeout like that, and it's like timeout is even small, yeah, like that. Then oh sorry, so timeout, and then inside here I'll just open up this arrow function like that. And the next thing I want to quickly do right now is what, I want to set it back, right? So I'll set the copied back to what, I'll set it back to be false, but only after, let's say, 1000 milliseconds, just like that, right? Alright, nice and clean. So right after, all I just need to do is, let me quickly refresh that, and we should see it play live in action right here, right now. Alright, so it looks like the page has finally refreshed, and we can quickly test it out. So I'll just click on this, click on that, and you can see when I do this, you see that it changes for at 1000 milliseconds, and it just gets back, right? So this one tells us that it has been copied, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. Now that we've been able to set that up, right, the next thing we want to do is we want to come and work on the on new function, right? So so you see this on new function, right? Apparently before we can create it, we need to actually create the route for it. Okay, so let's just create it. So I'll say on new, just like that. Let's open it up like this, right? It has to be an asynchronous function, by the way. So we'll come here and then we'll make it an async, just like that. Alright, and inside this async that we have, we say what try. Okay, so try. Okay, so try catch. You can see the try catch right here, and we can just console log. You can just console log like this, right? And then error, just like that. And finally, we can just set the finally right here, and we set is loading. Set is loading to be false, just like this. All right, nice and clean. All right, so now that we have been able to set this up, right, what we quickly want to do is, you see here, we want to make sure that once we click on the button, it sets its loading to be what, to be true. It sets it to be true like that. And the next thing we want to make sure it does is, we want to say const response, just like this, right, is going to be equal to const response is going to be equal to await, right? So await, and then we say what, axios dot patch. Okay, so axios dot patch, we already imported axios when we're deleting. You remember that I said we shouldn't remove it because we need it, right? So we can just open this up, and inside we can just pass it inside like this. So our API slash what, service, just like that, right, slash what, server ID, right? So server ID, just like this, or server.id, server.id, my apologies. And I have what, server, I have invite code, right, nice and clean, just like this. Now right after I'm able to do that, and right after this has been completed, what I want to do is, I want to take this on open right here, and then I want to pass the server into the invite model, right, so that we can work and like do a couple of things with that. So invite, just like this, and then I'll pass the response, right? So I'll just pass the response inside the server. So I'll say server do response dot data, just like this. All right, so this on open that we can see here, we just need to import it from here. All right, nice and clean. All right, so yeah, so now that we've been able to import that, right, if I come here and open this, and I try to like if I try to generate a new link, we will not be able to generate it because I've not created the route for it, like I said before. So I'll just collapse that. I'll go into the app right here. Right now, what I want to do is, inside this API right here, if we go back, let's go back inside. You see that it says inside the API slash server ID right here, right? You see inside here, right? So looking at how the routes have been defined should be able to give you an idea of how we are going to literally build out the routes, right? So so pretty much, let's not waste too much time, right? So looking at how the routes have been defined, all we know is, what we know right now is, we can just go inside here. You see the service right here, you see service, right? And then it says what, server ID, so which means we already have this server ID right here, right? Then we have what, invite code. So you create a folder here called invite code, right? So what I mean is, inside the server ID that we already have, you can create a new folder called what, invite code, right? So invite code like this, just like that, right? Right, so now that we have this invite code, we can just create a route.ts, just like this. All right, so yeah, so this is the routes.ts that we have right here, and inside the routes.ts, what we want to do is, we want to export async function patch, right? And then inside this patch, okay, let me just open this up. Now inside this patch, we want to set up our request parameter right here. So this request parameter is going to be the type of what request, just like this. All right, and right after here, we can just bring in this comma and then open this up and collect the params that we are passing through the request, right? So params, and this params is going to have the type. So let's define the type for the params. That's going to have the type of what params, right? And inside the params, we want to find our server ID, just like that. All right, and we are going to set it to be a type string, just like that. All right, let me see. Okay, this has to be correct. Let me check it well. Params, and yeah, it has to be correct, but I'm not seeing. Let me see something. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I'm coming. So oh yeah, I think I think I know what is going on. Yeah, so finally we've been able to fix that. The next thing we want to quickly do now is we want to now open our try catch block right here. I wish the snippet would just show. Alright, so try catch block right here. Well, what we want to do is you can just log out the error. Alright, so log, so log, so I have to type a few things. So log console.log, right? And then inside the console.log, we can just say what server ID, right? And that is going to be error, just like this, just like that, right? And inside here, you can just return new next response, right? And internal server error, just like that. And we can just set the status to be 500, just like that. All right, so now that we've been able to set up the new next response right here, you can see at the top, we can now come inside the try block and then do what we need to do. So the first thing is we want to be able to get the profile. So we say const profile is going to be equal to await current profile, and we just import that, and then we initialize that like that. All right, then right after getting the current profile, we want to check for it. So we say if if there is no current profile, right, what do we want to do? What we want to do is we want to return, okay, so we want to return what? A new next response, right? A new next response, just like this, right? And inside we can just say what? Unauthorized, just like that. Unauthorized, just like that. Right, now inside here, right, status, right? So status 401, just like this, right? What we quickly want to do inside this status 401 like this, right? What we want to do right now is I'll just copy this, okay, paste it here, and you see we want to check for the params too as well. So I'll just say params, right, dot what? Server ID, because we have defined it, so you can see here. Then we want to say what? Return new next response. So if you don't get the server ID, we want to say what? Server, so server ID is missing. Just like that. Alright, and I want to set it to be what, 404, just like this. Alright, nice and clean. So yeah, so now that we have that, right, the next thing we want to quickly do is we want to come here and then say const server, right? So const server, and there's going to be await db, and then this db is, we are going to import it like the way we just did on top, and then we say server dot what, dot update, just like that. And inside, so dot update, and then we want to say where do we want to update this, right? What do we want to update? So inside it we can say what's the id, right? So we want to check for the id, and that's going to be the params dot what, server id, since that's where we are performing the operations at. So, and then we check for the profile id too. Also, we need to make sure that the person belongs to that particular server, right? So profile id, then going to go at profile dot id, just like this too as well. And inside here I'll just say data, and this data is going to be what, the invite code, just like this. And then the invite code, we are going to have to get it from the UUID package, right? So we can just import that. Oh, let me scroll up and import the UUID package, right? So we are going to say import, oh, import v4 as what, UUID, import v4 as UUID v4, right? As UUID v4 from what, from what, we want to get it from our UUID package, right? Nice and clean. So now that we have this, what we can just do is I can just copy this right here, and I'll scroll down, let me talk to you. So yeah, I just pasted it right here, right? And yeah, so after we've been able to do that, we can just come here right below, and then we can just return the response, all right, when everything is okay. So we just say next response, just like that, and that is going to be .json, next response.json, and then we pass it inside as what, server, just like that. All right, nice and clean. So yeah, so pretty much now that we have been able to set this up, right, now that we've been able to set this up, we can now generate uh, new code, right? But the thing is that if we generate the code and we want to test it out, let's say we generated a new code, right, and we want to, maybe we share the code with our friend, right, and our friend wants to join the Discord channel. You see, because it's a new code and it's not necessarily like the server ID attached to the code, is going to be kind of, we are going to run into errors, right? So we want to create like a page that can simply what, a page that can simply like redirect the user to like the right server page, right? So how we are quickly going to do that is going to be quite easy. So what we'll do is we'll just go into our app right here, right, and then we'll create a new route here called what, so we'll say something like invite. Okay, so we'll make it an organizational folder right here, so invite, just like that. And then inside we want to create a new folder called routes, just like that. So routes, right, then inside the routes, right, inside the routes that we have here, we want to create a new folder here called invite, just like that, right. Then inside this invite we want to create this dynamic route here. So we'll say what, invite code, right, and I'll just hit enter, and then you can see the trend of what is going on here. Then inside this invite code dynamic route here, I'll just say page.tsx, right? Now this page.tsx is not going to have like any actual like content, right? We just do refce, and I'll say invite code page, right? Invite code page, nice and clean, right? It's okay. Then after setting up this invite code page here, let's make sure it's even async, because we are going to perform certain actions here, right? So it's async. Now let's come here and then create an interface for it. So I'll say interface, and I'll give it like invite code page interface. So invite code page props, basically. So invite code page props, just like that. Then inside here I'll set the params to be what? Invite code string, right? Alright. And yeah, so now that we've been able to do that, what we want to do is you can just come here and then pass in the params just like this, and after we can just say invite code page props just like this, right? Now let me quickly bring this down here, and I'll take const profile just like this is going to be equal to await current profile, right? I want us to be able to import that. Okay, yeah, nice. It should be imported by now. I hit enter. Okay, it's here. So we have the profile here, right? Now let's quickly check for the profile. Let's make sure that it is actually available. So if we don't get the profile, what we want to do is we want to redirect the user to what? To the so return. We want to return the user to the sign in. Okay, so here say redirect, and this is going to be a component from clerk. So redirect to sign in. Oh, it's like it's not sure. Okay, yeah, direct to sign in just like that. All right. So yeah, we just set that up, and yeah, now we can just go and check again. So let me quickly just copy this as usual. I'll paste it here, and then I'll say that, oh, let's check if we don't get the params dot invite code, right? And what we want to do is we want to just return to home. So we see what redirect from next/navigation, and we set it to home just like that. All right, nice and clean. So right after that, I'll just come here and I'll say const existing server just like that, and existing server is going to be what? Await db. So db dot server dot find first, right? So db dot server dot find first, you can see, right? So you can see, so basically db dot server, and then what we just find first, and then how, so like where are we going to find first, right? So we say what? Where, so we specify, so we say where the invite code, right here is going to be what? The params dot invite code just like this, right? And we want to check inside the members, right? And we want to make sure that, so we want to make sure that sum, so sum just like that, and then we set it to be what? Profile id, sorry, so sum, I'll just open it up, I'll say profile id just like this, I'll set it to be what? Profile dot id just like that, right? and right after that I want to check. So right now I'm just checking if the user is already part of this server that the user is trying to join, right? So after we check, and so if we realize that it is true, right, the user is actually part of this existing server, what we want to quickly do is we just want to redirect the user to that actual server, right? So return redirect, right, and then we just, so backticks, right, service, right, backticks service, and existing server, right, so service, right, service, and then we set it to what, existing server right here, all right, dot what, dot id, just like that. All right, nice and clean. So right after we've been able to set that up to, what we want to quickly do now is, oh, so what we quickly want to do now is, now what if the user is not part of that? So we want to get the cons server right here. So inside here we say what, await db dot what, server dot updates, just like that. All right, then inside this update object here, what we want to say is, we want to say where. So where do we want to update, right? So we say that we want to update the invite code. So we say invite code is what, invite code is going to be set to what, the params dot what, invite code, right, nice and clean. So we have that, and then here we want to say that, oh, and then let's make sure that the data that we are updating with, right, is going to be members. So inside the members field, we want to push this new user inside, right? So create and what, so create, and then this is an array. Then inside we pass in with the profile ID, just like that, and we set it to be what, the profile dot id, just like this. Oh, profile dot id, just like this. All right, so pretty much as you can see, okay, let's do the last check. And so I'll say if what, if the server, so if this was successful, right, if this operation we just performed was successful, we want to return what, the redirect. So let's quickly copy this line and then paste it here, but this time it will be what, it will be server, oh, it will be server dot id, just like this. All right, nice and clean. Oof. Okay, so yeah, so pretty much that is it for setting up the setting up the invites friends, right? But the thing here is, and the thing about this is, we have, you can see that we have like this where error here, right? But like, you ask yourself that, oh, why is it that we have that error? Now the reason why we have that error is because we want to set, so let's go into the schema.prisma, right? And then you see this invite code that we set to db text, let's just make it what, unique. All right, so that's for the server model, right? So after we've been able to do this, we actually need to like run like a couple of things, right? It's usually recommended that we create like a fresh server, like we just reset everything, just clean everything from the database, and let's like do our npx prisma generate and like npx prisma db push, right? So so yeah, so right after we are able to do that, we should be able to get rid of all these things, right? Yeah, so yeah, pretty much that's it. So what I'll do right now is, let me quickly close this, right? And I'll do npx, right? npx prisma, npx prisma migrate reset, and that should basically clean up or reset like our database and everything, right? Now right after that is done, I need it to do our npx prisma generate, right? Right after that is done, npx prisma generate, and then right after that one is also done, I need it to do what, my npx prisma db push. Okay, nice. Yeah, but before we run this, I wanted us to do one more change. So I realized that the for the other models we have inside the components right here, I don't like how their color here looks like. So I'll just, so this is the invite model, we already set that, and I can just come here and copy and paste, but like this time I'll make this on a dark, so dark, just like that. And I can just do the same thing for the create server here too as well. Inputs, yeah, copy paste, and I'll make this on dark screens, just like that. Alright, nice and clean. So yeah, that was just like a minor change that I wanted us to make. Alright, so yeah, back, yeah, and you see this one that we created here, you see this function. Let's make sure that we are passing it into the right button, and that button is going to have to be the one for the, yeah, so I'll just uncomment this. So on click has to be set to on new, just like that. We can just refresh for it to take place, and we can simply go back, and take care of this one. So okay, so yeah, I closed the server, that's why. So let me just hit enter right here. I'll pause the video. Once it's done, you can just get back to it and then look at the results. Okay, so yeah, you see that it will ask you that, are you sure you want to reset a database? Just choose yes, and yeah, so y, and hit enter. It should be going, and yeah, that's it. So I'll just wait again. Alright, so as you can see, we are back and it is done doing what we asked it to do. So what I'll just do is I'll just run my npm run dev. That should quickly quick start the development server, and right after we can just test it out. You can see right here that the error has been taken out. You can see that the error is not there anymore. So yeah, we are good to go. Alright, so yeah, it should just load up and we should be good to go. Right, so right now I'm just trying to reload. Okay, looks like it's going to take some time, so I'll just hold control and click on the localhost 3000 like here, and that should allow us to just get rid of that. So I'll click on that and we should be able to open up. Alright, so that should load it up for us. Okay, then it looks like I have to just pause the video, then when it's done loading we can just continue from there. So let me just pause it. Alright, so we are back and I finally was able to get it to load up, and yeah, so you can see it is asking us to create the server, the first server that we want to create with the current account that we have. And so I'll just click on that. I'll just select one image. It should load up. Okay, so one image, we just select just one image. Okay, one image from here. Just select this, and then I'll say right. So I'll just click on this, just the bottom here, and it will just upload it and replace. Then I'll say something like full stack development group or server, or just full stack development, right? And then right after that, I'll hit create right here. Let's hit create right there, and then you can see that it is trying to create it. Okay, it is done creating it. And so quickly we should be redirected to our server page right here. So it will load up in a second. Okay, it should load up in a second. Right, it looks like it's almost done. Right, okay, I knew it's almost done. So alright, so you can see that we have our full stack development server right here. You can see we have this one working all nice and clean. Alright, so I'll just click on this, click on invite people, and over here all I have to do is to just copy this link right here, and I can just enter another profile. So let me see, I'll enter this profile right here, and I'll just hit enter. So I'll just enter like this. I think me even trying to enter and not being able to log in would, okay, so you can see that it's redirected me to the sign in right here. I'll just continue with Google like this, and then I'll just continue just like this. Continue. Alright, give it some time. Give it some time. Okay. So it should quickly redirect us to uh, the invite page, right? So okay, let me see what is going on. Just hit enter, and okay, I don't know why it keeps trying to take us back to, let me just start. So I'll say local host 3000, like I'll just clear this like that. So it just takes me to the actual app. This is going to take some time. I think I should pause the video so that once it loads up we can just continue. Okay, it's here. It's here. You just have to wait a little bit. Okay, so you can see right here it's telling us to create our own server, right? But we already have, we're able to copy the server link right here. So you can see, so even here, right, we can generate a new link, and you see that this ID will change. You see that this ID will change real quick. So okay, I think it's done compiling. Alright, okay, okay, 200. Okay, so you can see that it just changed. I would copy that, I'll go back here, and then I'll just paste it inside like this. And once I paste it inside, it should do all the necessary checks and quickly redirect me to the actual server. You can see, so now I have been able to join the FullStack development server, and then you can see that because I'm only a member, it just shows me the tab or the menu that allows me to just leave the server right here. So yeah, so now we understand and we know that our invite functionality or our invite users functionality works like it should work. And so yeah, pretty much we are done with this part of the series, and thank you very much for getting to this part, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.